Eddie Long that guy. And shout out to Red Light Crew.
Hey, you're one of 12 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
Yeah, you know what? To define that better, I think the key there is... Zero cat. I just lost my train of thought.
Episode 147 of Nation Real Life. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk, and the gang is back together. Chalmers is here. Jay, Wanye, bagged milk after last week where we had Zach Stortini in for a Mary Brown's Pop-In. And a big thanks to Mary Brown's for setting that all up. Bite-sized morsels of 100% breast meat, chicken-coated in Mary's seasoning, served hot, crispy, and so yummy. Choose Thai for a kick of sweet heat. Big love to Mary Brown's. You had Mary Brown's the other day,
didn't you? I went Yaremchuk to Mary Brown's, and I was like, oh, I'll have a chicken sandwich, and then give me the Popeye Pop-In, and they're like, it's not Popeyes, it's Mary Brown's, and I was like, oh shit, which is ironic. I didn't know the fucking name of it, considering Mary Brown's is one of the partners of our show. Mm-hmm. Delicious.
Fantastic.
Mary Brown's is delicious. It's delicious chicken, and the only reason I went there is because they advertise on this podcast, so advertising works.
Yep, there's one on St. Albert Trail. I stopped in on a Big Mary's Monday. Fantastic. Eddie dropped off coupons for us, so I went and used it. And it was great. I loved it. Mary Brown's is awesome. Jabba's also awesome. They're our other sponsor. This podcast is going to be awesome, but we do need to address the, how do we say this? The elephant in the room, the cherry in the room. If you want to skip the Don Cherry talk, and I completely understand if you do, feel free to skip ahead to like the 10-minute mark, because we're not going to spend too much time on this, but we feel like we should give our opinions since we're recording today, and it is the big story of the day here on Tuesday, November 12th. So, I mean, I guess who wants to go first?
I want to lead with an observation that might turn into an opinion. That has nothing to do with Don Cherry.
Oh.
Are you wearing skate laces in your shoes?
Yeah, so these boots, they're pretty old, and the laces in them ripped one day, and I was like, crap, now I've ripped laces, and the only laces I had in my house were hockey laces. So I just put hockey laces in them, and then I was like, fuck it, I don't want to change it.
You were probably able to use one skate lace for both shoes.
Yep, I was.
Those are chopped up. There's like 9 knots in them.
Yep. These are my I'm wearing sweatpants to work boots.
That's fiscally responsible, too.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
So if you were going to fast forward to the end of Don Cherry talk, it's now the 15-minute mark. We spent 5 minutes talking about your Yaremchuk shoes.
Sorry, they're
top of mind.
They're staring me in the face, and I had to share this observation.
Is it not a good observation? Do you...
It's very Canadian what you're doing. You're trying to do what Connor McDavid's doing around his waist on your feet.
Yeah, like I don't wear these to like when I go to the rink or something for work or anything like that. They're just kind of like my casual shoes. They're very old, very beaten up, but they're comfy, and I like
the bottoms of them look slick on a day like today on the sidewalk.
Yeah, but I have very large feet, so the ice doesn't even really bother me.
Area.
Yeah. What are you rocking there for skis?
13s.
Whoa.
How tall are you?
6'2".
13s. I thought ski boots were like 22.5 and like 23 in sizings.
Jeez, those are some.
Those are 210s. Those are actual skis.
You know what they say about big feet?
Big shoes with skate laces in them?
Got to use skate laces, yeah.
Jujar?
Well,
perhaps.
Jujar has size 26 feet.
Don
Cherry?
Don Cherry. All right, Don Cherry.
So he got
our
fired.
take on that.
He got fired.
Dismissed.
not
Relieved of his
there.
duties. Who wants to go first? I've been getting yelled at about it all day, so I'll let you guys go first.
I laughed at the tweet that said Don Cherry's career was cut short because he's 85 years old, and I don't know too many 85-year-olds who are still checking into work every day.
Maybe a couple years too long.
I like the tweet that Fabricland went out of business.
Yeah.
On account of the fire.
The Beaverton.
I'll go first. And yeah, it is difficult for me, regardless of the opinion that you may have on something like this. And like, I look at people, I went and read on Twitter, and Twitter is a disgusting cesspool of human thought at the best of times. You've got people on the far left who are like, Don Cherry should not only be arrested, he should be shipped off to Guantanamo Bay, and that's the end of that old man. You got people on the far right who's like, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Everybody on the left should go fuck themselves. And it's just sort of like thrown onto the huge fire of political commentary on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Don Cherry in 2004 was voted the 6th best Canadian of all time. And in 2020, he's been fired for using racial language in support of the troops. Right? I don't think a guy like Don Cherry changed all that much between 2004 and 2020, but times have changed. And I think that it's ill-advised to go on national TV and refer to new Canadians as you people. Mm-hmm. I think we all know old people who talk like that, but they're just not on national TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's an appropriate thing to say, but what I will respect is Grapes taking it on the chin like a man, and then them doing the follow-up interview, and he's like, you want to fire me? Go fuck yourself, basically. I don't care. And I hope at some point in all of this, Don Cherry is given the tribute he ultimately deserves, regardless if, like, it's not good to talk like that. And in saying Don Cherry's had a good 40-year career doesn't excuse talk like that.
Right.
But this cancel culture that we live in right now, which is like in the name of tolerance, anybody who says something I find offensive should be turned off.
Yeah.
This shit's got to stop.
And so when you talked about the tribute, it brought me to my very first reaction was, why did the people in the people around him, why did they let it get to this point?
Because Ron only has so much power, man. He's been electrocuting Grapes under this coach's corner table for 15 fucking years.
Yeah. We've been seeing like the slip and like the slippery slope that he's been on for a couple of years. There's been like,
it's been forever.
It's been forever.
Before he was old, he was just really militant.
He just and didn't like Russians.
And so it's not a huge surprise that something like this happened. What it really sucks though is that like, we all have a time in our life when we sat down and made Coach's Corner like a tradition of watching it. Mm-hmm. We made sure we were there to listen to him. All of us, at some point, I'm sure, loved Don Cherry just for exactly what he was.
And I think if they'd allowed him to retire a few years ago without a cloud of scandal, it would have allowed for a better send-off. Yeah. By leaving Grapes on the air past his expiry date, it was only going to end with something like this.
Yeah. And that's joint as well, because you've heard a lot that they wanted to push him out. They didn't want this anymore. And he always fought back. He wanted to be there.
They pushed Ron McLean out. Ron McLean was doing friggin' hometown hockey from Aqualit for a year there when Strombolopolis was running the desk.
Like... And maybe this is a little bit on Don too for not going, you know what, I've had a great run, I'm going to step aside while I'm still loved. And he couldn't see that.
Don Cherry, 85 years old, needs the purpose of Hockey Night in Canada to live, right? I don't think a guy like Don is, it reminds me of Brian Hall, except Brian Hall isn't really that controversial. He's like 84.
Yeah.
And he's still wheeling into work. You're not going to get Brian Hall to quit. You're not going to get Grapes to quit.
And these guys, like, this is the last thing that's holding them to their lifelong work, right?
But when you don't take him out in a graceful way,
right,
you're basically leaving him until he blows up of his own accord.
Exactly.
And that does a disservice to his legacy.
It totally does, because now we got to look back on him, and instead of just remembering all the good stuff and the times he pushed the boundaries and it never really got to this level, we now have the level, and it fucking sucks. But he was wrong, and it was wrong, and it is what it is at this point. Everybody, he was left out there long enough to hang himself, and he did.
Remember when we started the company, Jane, it was my job to be in charge of opening mail.
Yeah.
And then at the house, the mail just piled up, and I would consider putting mail in a letterbox to be dealing with the mail.
Correct.
Then remember when you quit your job and came aboard, and you're like, first things first, you're not in charge of mail anymore, and you got a mail person? You did that because you knew I was incompetent at my job.
There was a table full of mail.
There was
I remember
a
the mail
room
table.
full of mail.
It was
our mailbox
room.
filled every single day with mail. Every day it would be full.
Fan mail?
No. Bills and lawsuits
mail.
and entrepreneur mail.
There was like four stacks. There was the ones I'm scared to open, I think.
Yeah.
There's the ones that I have to open.
There's
the ones that are half opened.
Who are you to send me mail, pal?
Yeah.
But you removed me because you knew sooner or later I would forget to open the mail and something important would come in. You got me out of my own way. And I think Grapes was owed a better end of career than this.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say we're not going to discuss our views on the whole thing. Because
shouldn't talk like that about people, man. It's just not nice.
No, it's just not nice.
But there is some mitigating. He's a fucking old ass man who should have been taken off the air.
Yes. Yeah. And how many times have we heard him say "you people" when he's talking about like Leafs fans? He didn't understand that the things that he normally says that might be just like off the cuff remarks, that when he uses them towards something that's polarizing, how it will be taken.
But you see the footage of him like meeting with the soldiers in Afghanistan and shaking all the hands and this, that, and the other. He isn't some glib asshole in my mind who's just like spouting off. Like I've seen Grapes start crying on Hockey Night in Canada because he's talking about troops that perished.
Yeah.
Like this guy loves the troops. Loves the troops. And so for him to get fired on Remembrance Day at the age of 85, that was also, I thought, bullshit.
He obviously saw this shit early in the day.
And he could have left it for an extra day.
And came in and had this weighing on him that, like, I have to say something about this. And I think that I hate to say it, but I think he knew what he was doing. I think he, like...
Oh, yeah?
I mean...
The fact he hasn't come out... There's two things. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, that's okay, because I think you agree with it.
Yeah, there's two things that come across here. He has not, and he's had moments to speak. He's done interviews now, come across and said, I didn't mean to offend minorities or immigrants.
Yes.
He has come out not. No. And notice how no one from...
He's come out and said that?
He has come out. He is not. He's doubled down. He said, I know what I said and I meant it.
Yeah.
And number two, no one from Sportsnet or his place of work has come out and said, we know Don, we know that he didn't mean to offend people. No one said that because I think everyone around there knows Don. And I think Don knows exactly what he was saying.
Whose job is it to manage the career of an 85-year-old past elderly man? It's the board, it's the heads of Sportsnet who should be sitting there and looking at like, Jesus, you know what? This guy might be a little bit past his prime. We got to show in honor to his legacy.
And see, a guy like Ron McLean who knows Don at the very end, I don't think even in that moment, I think Don, like, did it seem like Ron McLean knew that this was like, holy shit, what he's saying right now? Because at the very end, he says, I love, and we love you for it, right? Like, he gives him a thumbs up, like, as in, I agree with everything you just said.
Wow.
I love Ron McLean, and I understand why people are upset with him. There's a difference between someone who says something and knows they meant it, and someone who I think made an honest mistake, and I think Ron did. And the other thing, when you watch Coach's Corner and Ron's always kind of looking like he's staring off into space, and then he'll come back with the...
Is he looking at the sensors?
Well, staring off in space, then he'll come back and go, Don, we got this clip, or Don, we're running on this much time left. There's a producer in his ear this whole time, right? So there's the part of me that goes, like, for all we know, Ron could have been sitting there and going, okay, Don's talking about the troops right now, like we planned. A producer could have been in his ear saying,
and he could have been missing it.
Hey, Ron, by the way, we're going to play this video clip, and then you have 65 seconds after that to wrap things up with Don. Like, there is a very good chance when Ron apologizes and says, I missed it, I honestly believe him.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that Don did, or Ron McLean did anything wrong, but usually you've seen him when all of a sudden he can tell that Don's going like off script and a little bit too in the gray area, and you see him kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, I wish you weren't saying this, pull it back, like, and in that moment, it looked like, and he was looking down at the desk. He probably had somebody in his ear, but he wasn't at that moment showing the signs of like, this is fucking like
horrible,
serious shit.
But that's the tension that between Ron and Don that's driven Coach's Corner for 30 fucking years.
Oh yeah, Don Cherry telling Ron to stop it. This is my show. Yeah. I'll do what I want. And he was saying, well, we got 30. That was part of the love of it.
That was shtick, yeah.
So I hope that Don gets the proper tribute he's deserved for his 39, everything up to the last hour of his career. And I hope they look at Brian Burke on the panel and go, we're not going to leave you on the air, Burkey, until you're 85 years old.
He's got some of those tendencies in him.
For sure he does. Man. But he's like on the political spectrum, he's a little bit more progressive.
Yeah.
But cantankerous 85-year-old man on live national television, no more.
It's weird that the lesson had to be learned, but I think it has been almost.
But he was on CNN, and I was like reading CNN, and it's like, sportscaster fired for comments. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. What's that all about? It was Don fucking Cherry on the landing page of CNN.com.
Before the show, we did talk about whether or not we were going to talk about this, and it led us down kind of an interesting area because we didn't want to talk about our opinions. We wanted to kind of advance the whole thing of it. And it was kind of interesting to hear about like what Bag Milk had to just like deal with just for putting out like, I don't know, was it an opinion piece or like what Yaremchuk had to deal with this morning just because he had to address it? You know what I mean? And like the fallout from both sides that's so polarizing and that just can get really, really out of, out of touch with things and then spout these feelings that are just not making anything better and saying the worst shit that they can to you.
Yeah, today I addressed it on the radio and our text line was flooded with people calling me every name in the book possible, right? I'm sure you can imagine them. I don't need to repeat them.
Did they call you Tyler?
Not a great name, I'll admit that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shoelace skates?
People they're carving me and they're carving Low Tide too, and they're just ripping everything to do with it. And the lesson I think I learned in this is, or that I maybe want to pass on that I've been noticing is just because something doesn't offend you doesn't mean it's not offensive to others, right? Like I've never been racially profiled or discriminated against at all, really. But what Don said, that shit's like a harsh reality for people. And I feel like some people can't really wrap their head around that. They hear you people and they go, well, that doesn't bother me. Why the hell should it bother anyone else? And then we got a lot of is this not a country without free speech anymore? And I think what to pull from that is free speech doesn't mean speech without consequences. Don can say whatever he wants on his free time. He can say whatever he wants about the government. He can do anything. But as soon as you do it on your company's dime and on company time and on national TV, there might be consequences to what you say.
My issue isn't with the way it was handled in the long run. My issue is with the mob. Yeah. Right? The mob that attacked the phone lines at 1260 being like, I'm going to say things 50 times worse than what was said that was offensive in the name of backing up my point. The mob is the guys Bag Milk has to deal with on the site, manually pulling down comments for 6 hours. Whether you're on the far left or you're either on the far right, I'm getting sick. And I think most people who have any sort of reading social media, being on the radio, just like the mob mentality and the witch hunt of 2019 is getting fucking old.
When I was watching hockey on Saturday night, and when I saw Don Cherry's comments, all I could think of to myself was, oh, fuck. Because I knew what was coming. I knew that there would be people on the left that were really upset, and arguably justifiably so, about what he said, the way he presented the information, I should say. At its core, he's defending the troops. I think everybody agrees with that. But the way it was packaged was poorly done.
Awful.
It was not up to 2019 standards. It was like we were still in 1950. Do you know what I mean? You can't do that. But on the flip side, there was all the people who were so aggressive towards the dissent that it didn't make any sense to me. There's no conversation anymore in the middle.
That's why Trump got elected, right? It wasn't necessarily that people thought he was the best move. It's that they were so mad at the other side of the political spectrum. They're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send that big turnip down to Washington. He's going to fuck some shit up. But there is no conversation. Whether you're on the far left or you're on the far right, it's like the rage and the like inability to take anything with a grain of salt anymore. I think that's like really dividing everybody.
Well, that's the interesting thing about, like, say, the comment section on our website is there are people still emailing me today saying, how could you leave this stuff up? But for me, I don't want to stop people from talking. I don't want to stop people from having a conversation. But what I respond with to some folks is, you should see the shit that I pulled down or that didn't show up through our filters at all. It turned into a very, very hate-filled conversation that was leaps and bounds past where it originated. And I don't understand how things get there. It's very disappointing. It sucks that you almost have to. It sucks that I have to be watching hockey on a Saturday night and then just get the feeling of dread, like, fuck me, the next 2, 3, 4 days until this calms down is going to be horrible. Because
you're going to see the worst of people. Like, what part of it? The amount of work or the amount of, like, because you read the comments, you bring them down, and it just gotta. I mean, it must. I go into Twitter a couple times and I see people just reply. It's easy to hide behind a faceless avatar and just say whatever I want on Twitter, and I try to go back to see what was said to these people. And when I get to it, I wish I didn't. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't have to see that. And so you are dreading the fact that you have to see them. You have to read basically what the worst of humanity is going to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that I pulled down over the weekend that no swear filter is going to stop from getting through. It has to be a manual thing unless we allow no one to comment, which isn't the answer either. It was tough to read a lot of the quote unquote arguments people were using. There was a lot of nonsensical stuff in there. There was a lot of just complete putrid thought and hate speech in there. And it was a tough weekend. It was a shitty way to spend my time. It was a shitty way to look at work, in a sense. There's nothing fun about it. I don't want to be the guy. I want to talk about hockey. Do you know what I mean? I want to talk about the Edmonton Oilers. I want to talk about Nuge having a 4-point weekend. I don't want to talk about some of the worst shit I've read on the internet in a long time, which is in our own soap sandbox that somebody has to go through and clean up.
What freaks me out too, is like those people that are making those comments, we've seen a lot of them be perfectly rational.
Sure.
I was looking at them and it was like people who have been on the comment section for years being like, you know what? I do think that Oscar Klefbom has sexy ads, rips their mask of civility off and the fucking face underneath. I'm like, damn.
It's just, it's like you said earlier, it's so aggressive on both sides that it's like, do you remember when we started Twitter, Twitter accounts 10 years ago?
Damn right I did.
And it was, you could make jokes and nobody took everything all that seriously.
Well, that's what it was about. It was about trying to make the other people laugh.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Twitter originally was.
And at some point we lost that, and it's turned into this strange cancel culture that just everything is a problem for somebody, and that somebody needs to really get that across. I wish you could have a conversation with people and have it go to a place where it's productive and respectful, but that just doesn't seem like something
that doesn't interest some of those people. I don't think, like, when they get riled up and they want to vent their opinions. You know, maybe that's the safest way to do it, but I just don't think so.
And I also think it's important that people evolve to the societal norms of where we're at in 2019 too. Even something that you said maybe in 2015 or 2010, it's not cool anymore. Yeah. And it's up to everybody to evolve their opinions and their thoughts and bring them up to speed.
It's worth noting, though, that we're not, as a society, moving towards an era of freedom of thought and freedom of speech.
No.
This thing's on a pendulum. It swings back and forth, right? Like, if you look at Berlin in between World War I and World War II, it was like the most liberal city in Europe. Everything went, no problem at all. Then it got tightened up, right? And I'm not suggesting, like, there's a thing on the internet, you can count how many comments in an argument until someone calls someone a Nazi, and the answer is usually, like, within 35. I'm not saying anyone's Nazis, but I just mean that, like, as a society, we're, like, heading in a beeline away from free speech. And when you enter into periods where people don't feel comfortable discussing opposing views, that's generally when bad shit happens, right? I remember going to Berlin and looking at the East German Museum, and they were talking about how there was so many microphones in public places and during the war that basically if you spoke out in public, there'd be a knock at your door and you're gone in a lot of places because they're tracking, they're listening, they're doing all sorts of stuff. Everybody's spying on everybody. And I think, like, regardless of political view, we're actually approaching a point like that again in society where, like, I don't want to go on social media and tell my thoughts about anything, and I'm not even racist. Well, I don't even have anything bad to say, right?
And who's not to say we're at that point right now, because I think we all believe our phones are listening to us in some way, shape, or form.
Will there be any public figures left in 5 years if this fucking shit keeps up?
I can't listen to Michael Jackson.
So, yeah.
I can't listen to R. Kelly.
I haven't been able to enjoy a Weinstein movie.
I can't put my Bubba Kegs up, my Bubba Kegs with the Don Cherry logos on them anymore.
And a lot of bad people are being swept out.
Yeah, for a good reason. I'm just making a joke.
No, but and that's good.
I bet we're past the 15-minute mark, aren't we?
Well, we had talked a lot about the shoes to start. You gotta be fair.
Sorry, that was my bad.
No, I'm just joking.
But, you know, wrapping this up, you know, you made a very valid point when you walked in here, Chalmers, that we're like, we don't want to talk about this. And you're like, no, we should talk about it because people might care. And then we're like, people probably don't care. They've heard it enough. And then you're like, if I listen to a podcast that I like and they don't address the issue today, I get pissed off because you're the bossiest person in the room other than your M-Chuck. We listened to you. And so there.
We did it. No, I think it was great. I think if we just honestly didn't say anything about it right now, it would be kind of, I don't want to say cowardly because I don't think it is. I think it would be responsible for, you know, just for us maybe to not, we all have an opinion on it. We didn't want to get into the meat and guts of, like, you know, all of that, but I had to address it. You just had to.
Yep. And so, you know, Grapes, you'd fucked up at the end, but there was a lot of years you brought a lot of good, like, I was amazed. I was reading about him, some of the stuff. He didn't even dress fancy when he was a coach, hey? That was like him after the fact. That's like pretty.
And that was like the most toned down suit he's ever worn, hey? That night. I thought that was kind of funny.
Fiercely Canadian dude, man. Like, shouldn't be talking old man racist shit. But, you know, we will miss you, Grapes. We might miss 5 years ago you. Yeah. But you've done a lot in your time for hockey and for sport and definitely grew the game. And
probably still will, to be honest.
I don't think you'll hear much shit from Grapes anymore.
Oh, there's probably people out there trying to give him a podcast. Have you guys reached out to him?
100%. My concern with someone, you know, that was fighting to hold his position as long as he could, you know, that gives him a sense of purpose. And now that purpose has been removed. And a person at that advanced age, I'd actually be concerned that this could have, like, really.
He's got his charities and stuff like that, though, right?
But does he, though, now?
I don't know. Like, that'll be interesting.
I think if he really, really needed it, I think he would have come out and apologized so that he could get some of it back, even if it wouldn't be that position. But since he's still staying strong to what he says,
he'll join the other.
I think he's going to just continue to be Don Cherry.
He'll join the legions of 85-year-old angry men now sitting at home, right?
Yeah.
I'll end with a funny story about Don Cherry. One day I was at the Pint, and the Pint DJ, I can't remember his name, which is terrible right now, but he's a real nice guy, old school DJ. And we were sitting down talking about DJ stuff, and he's toured and done DJ things. He's like, you remember Chris Shepard? I'm like, do I remember Chris Shepard? Pirate Radio? I was like, junior high, that was the shit. Chris Shepard got his big break because he's somehow related to Don Cherry. And Don Cherry went to the company that put out Rock'em Sock'em videos.
So you mean Chris Shepard wasn't a British guy?
You
Never
didn't actually talk about Chris Shepard.
No, but I think it was like Quality Records put out Rock'em Sock'em and shit. And so Don put his neck out and got Chris Shepard in a record deal or something like that. And a lot of DJs like Tiesto and other guys, they actually look to Chris Shepard as being like Carl Cox and guys like that, really old school DJs love Chris Shepard for being one of the first DJs to have a big radio show and shit. So you could make a constructive argument that Don Cherry did more for electronica than any other fucking CBC staffer.
That means we could also blame him for Love Inc.
That just reminded me too.
Whoa,
when the
Loving
boys,
was terrific.
Broken Bones is a good track.
My kids drive when they drive longer distance in the car. We put on a show on for them in the back. The only DVDs we have in the car are Rock'em Sock'em 16 to 24 and Frozen. So does that mean we have to watch Frozen all the time now?
Hell yeah, no. Keep those Rock'em Sock'ems coming, man. Those are good.
Bad, they're good. It's to the point where I'm sitting in the front seat and I can hear what happens and I know exactly what's happening on the screen now because I've heard it so many fucking times.
When Don Cherry was the GM of the Ice Dogs, for 3 years, he forfeited all his foreign picks.
Yeah, every single import draft pick he didn't use.
Yeah, import. He forfeited them. And they won like 6 games in 3 years. And everybody's like, that's fine. It's amazing.
Yeah, he refused.
Don Cherry.
He was like, it's the Canadian Hockey League.
And they got destroyed every year.
Put his money where his mouth is and got kicked in the grind.
Fitting.
Peace out, Grapes.
Cherry
Love
on
ya.
top.
We need to
Bye,
give
buddy.
some love to our friends at Japa. Heading over to their socials right now. You should all give them a follow as well. Japa_machinery. They're heading out tomorrow at the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Associations. That's the ARHCA.
Oh, I'm a member. You don't need to tell me about the ARHCA.
They're heading out to their annual convention. You can find them at the trade show on November 14th and 15th. Go say hello to Russ and Marin. Tell them you like the podcast. Hey?
Huh?
Why not?
Yeah.
I would
Tons of
also
great
recommend
stuff.
that you score a pen. Japa pen,
Yes.
elite.
If they have pens there, take them all and bring them to Oilers Nation. Distract, two-man operation. Distract Russ and Marin. Go take the pens.
Penn City.
Maybe buy a loader at the same time.
Trick him, though. Get to the end and go. I didn't want it in yellow.
Yeah.
And here's the nice thing about Japa. Customer service doesn't begin and end with the machine rented or sold. It's the parts, service, and support along the way. So check them out right now. They still got big sales going on.
And if you want somebody to teach you how to drive your 351, just let me know.
Yep.
I was going to hone in on the service thing. I know the service is there because I hear about all the crazy service stories and just, you know, the phone call and immediately in the service truck and on the road to Conklin or, you know, Spruce Grove.
Resolute Bay.
Resolute Bay. They're there.
JapaEquipment.com. Call them directly, 780-962-5272. Do we want to talk a little Oilers? Is that
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's paying attention. Chalmers, do you know what the fucking record of the Oilers is right now?
No, 13 something.
12 and 5, bro.
12
12 and 5.
1? 12 5 and
Just
1?
listen. I still
John,
watched.
sorry.
I still watched all the games this weekend. I can tell you just
Did
because
you
I
though?
don't
Let's
have the
quiz him.
record.
Let's quiz him. Let's quiz Chalmers.
Well,
Sure.
just we
The
come in
7
and
hole.
we're-
That's where they both scored.
The
7 hole.
No.
Well, it was the 7 hole. That's it.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Nuge and McDavid both scored in the 7 hole. Right here. This little hole right here.
Is that the 7 hole?
Yeah, that's what I call it.
The 7 hole, that's like that slot right above the pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor's first goal is 7 hole.
So was Nuge's.
Nuge went top
No,
shelf, didn't he?
no. Neil
that
took
weird
out the defenseman behind the net. Nuge got the
that
puck,
one,
wrapped it
yeah.
around, and put it in the
Yeah,
7
yeah.
hole. Oh, Jay.
I'll take
Are
this
you
back.
watching?
Oh, fuck. I'll take this back to the beginning when we were debating what we were going to talk about.
Sure.
And Chalmers was like, well, I have nothing to talk about the Oilers about, so we should talk about Don Cherry. I was like, when do you ever have something to talk about the Oilers?
Oh, he
what
knows
do you wanna
about the
talk
Nuge's
about?
7 hole goal.
What do you want to
fuck.
talk about?
Yeah,
the Oilers look great.
He was skimming through Instagram and he saw a fucking clip like 30 seconds
When
ago.
Connor took a knee, popped back up and scored one of the nicest goals of the last 5
Yes.
years.
That was ridiculous.
Were you on a betting app looking at the end of the Vikings game, wondering if they were going to make the spread?
I have no idea.
I think
I was watching the
Vikings
game.
did play the late.
They did. I was at the Pint. I know everything.
The late game on
I was
Sunday.
at the Pint, sitting around watching. Somebody had the audacity to put NBA on the TV we were watching.
Association
Wrong
City.
with that?
Yeah, we went over and we watched it on in my brother-in-law's basement where he's got a couple.
The CNN headquarters
yeah,
with the
pretty
TVs?
much.
Yeah.
And yeah, we watched the whole thing. We watched every bit of it, man.
So that Connor goal where he goes down to one knee and gets back up, we are now starting to see like this is Connor McDavid and he's now back.
We had a men's league hockey game that day.
Yeah.
Early in the afternoon.
Yes.
And do you remember what we were talking about in the room? How
7 holes?
No, everybody was talking about like, what's wrong with Connor, man? He looks sick. he looked fucking amazing. Like he didn't look sick.
Looked
at all.
sick in
He
a
looked-
good way, the
they were
way
like-
we
they were
kids
like,
say
no, people
sick.
are like his knees acting up. I guarantee
He
it.
had
He's
he had
playing through a knee.
he had a shitty off season. And Gregor talked about it, where he couldn't get a full training season in. He's
Good.
doing rehab,
Fine.
which is fine. But also, like, he was still injured to start the year.
Of course
Don't
he was.
kid
And he
yourself.
also needs a break. He doesn't need to be tied to Gary
Yeah.
Roberts every fucking offseason. And if the first 20 games takes him a while to warm up, he's still, what, second in the league in scoring?
Third.
Third in the league in scoring?
tied for second, I think, isn't he?
Or is he tied with
Is he
Pasta
T2?
now?
Yeah, T2.
Chalmers, you know.
I do. He's tied for second.
With how many points?
More than the
30.
guy in third.
Leon has 34.
Yeah, thank you, Chalmers.
Fucking no. I'm not. You know what? I'm not in any like hockey drafts and stuff, so I don't. Numbers. They're just things, man.
Age ain't nothing but a number. That's a Aaliyah album produced by R. Kelly, you monster.
Monster.
Yeah, sure is.
Monster.
The album cover. Not great.
Not good. Not a good look.
No.
Good.
So I think Connor's back. I think he's now. You can say he's 95 to 100% recovered, because you're starting to see him just burst of speed, like muscling guys. Like he carried that guy for a bit,
Yeah.
then fell down, got back up, and then I don't know what he stick handle it 3,000 times before he put it where, Chalmers?
The Gordon Bombay
7-hole.
Deke.
No, that was not the 7
Top
goal.
cheddar where mama keeps the. no.
top shot in the net,
Pretty selfish of
touche,
him to
I'll give you that.
steal,
past the red line. Yeah.
Pass the red line.
We
Yeah,
were
yeah.
wondering when Connor had to and the Nuge had to, if they had a 2-0 on an empty net, how many passes back and forth there would have been between the two of them.
Two selfless
until
guys.
nobody scored. Connor shot it over the glass.
How good was it in Anaheim? Because obviously we call it Remembrance Day. They call it Veterans Day,
Veterans
right?
Day.
That they gave everyone in attendance a camouflage Ducks hat, and Connor McDavid
best.
scores a hat trick,
And they all threw him.
and they all threw those hats on the ice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
You know what I love about that goal? One, McDavid starts in the bottom of his own end and then goes all the way end to end. Like, that's sweet. But the play Cassie and Mick, I feel like that deserves a lot of credit, because he gets the puck in the neutral zone, and to me, this really just wraps up why Cassian works so perfectly on that line. He gets the puck in the neutral zone, does not try to do too much with it. His head's up, he sees McDavid coming and just goes, here you go, and puts it right on his tape. And I think that's why Cassian works well. Like, Chase on, you'll see at times he'll try to stick handle and dust off the puck, and sometimes guys try to overthink playing with Connor McDavid. The guys who have had the two best runs with him outside of Leon, but the two best, Maroon and Cassian, guys who are just simple-minded in a good way, in a hockey way, right? And just know, give the talented players the puck and go to the net. And when I get the puck, I'm either passing it to him or I'm shooting it as hard as I can. And I love that about Cassian.
Well, but I think Cassian is smart. I think he's smart to not to just kind of play it simple like that. Like he's a first round draft pick. He also has first round skill. That goal he
Remember when
scored
that
was
doctor
pretty
came in
fucking
and
sick.
told us Zach Cassian was the answer for all our stuff?
Yeah,
He really did, yeah.
Like he's simple when he needs to be, and then when he's on his own and needs to make a play, he can.
He's simple and smart at the same time.
Yeah.
He's plus 13 too.
Well, that's,
Stats guy Chalmers.
I remember when it looked as though when the Oil let Pat Maroon go, I kind of felt like Cassian and Maroon were like retreads that came in at the same time. They'd taken a chance on both of them.
Yeah.
I think they kept the right guy. Like Cassian has officially delivered again this season, right? Was this his third or fourth year as an Oiler?
Oh, 4 or 5?
Fourth, I think.
4. It's been a bit.
Three and change.
yeah, 3 and change.
Yeah.
I think he's been
He
great.
came in with 1 year left on his deal, had a good run in the playoffs, signed a 2-year deal, and this is year 2 of that. So 3 and change.
This is a sign of an organization in my mind that's like turning the corner, because you always need to be able to have retreaded players come in and have them work out. And to take a guy like Zach Cassian, who's coming in, and we don't have to talk about it because every time they interview him, they talk about it, but he was coming in under a little bit of personal duress. He's straightened it out. And sometimes those guys, whether you have like personal problems or an injury, or you think you're towards the end of their career, you hit a good team and you'll get another 3-4 years, like Dan Cleary. When he left Edmonton,
that guy's second act was like 12 years.
we're like, peace out, Dan Cleary. Enjoy your time in the AHL. And Detroit's like, no, you'll be fine. And away he went. And he played like 7 or 8 more years.
Yeah.
Right? Cassian could be one of those guys. He's clean living. He's in good shape.
Yeah.
He likes it here.
He's clearly having fun. He's a good fit on that line. And I loved after he scored that goal. What did he say?
Show me some
Show
love.
me some love.
Show me some love.
Yeah.
That should be a Nation Gear shirt.
I also liked seeing the moms get after it on this trip too.
My God, there was some sexy dancing going on in the back.
I loved it.
Good. My joke was, there's good thing no Oilers dads are on this trip, but there'd be another generation of Oilers born 9
Have
months
they
from
always
now.
done a mom's trip, or is
No,
this the first one?
time.
This is first or second? It's
early. It's in its infancy, if you want to call it.
For sure.
Nice.
For sure.
That's a
They
good
should
idea.
do illegitimate baby mama night trip, hey?
I know. I was always thinking like the dad's
Side piece night.
Yeah.
They've always had the dad's trip, right? Like the dad's trip's been a staple.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember thinking 2 years ago or something, a year ago, when I was like, hockey moms are the ones that
Here you go.
really do the work.
Honest question. If you could tag along to one, would you rather tag along with the moms or the dads for a road trip?
Moms.
Oh,
the
moms,
mom's
they
part,
give you
yeah.
all the attention.
Yes.
You want to feel like you're the best
I don't
human
want the
on
dad
earth?
being
Mom's trip.
mean to me, telling me I didn't own up to things. I want
Yeah.
the moms who are going to be the good cop.
Wait a minute. As a player or as someone who can
As
join
just
the
an
party?
innocent spectator who's in the party.
Mom's trip.
Mom's
for
100%.
sure.
Mom.
For sure.
You don't think the dads get after it? Remember when, was it Clefbaum's dad who was like taking off his shirt?
I don't know if you were watching. The moms were fully
Yeah, they
after
were.
it, too,
Okay.
man. There was some Prosecco going around.
Yeah, that was great.
It seems like a good time.
The moms cheer for the kids differently, I think. The dads sit up.
Cassian's mom just massaging above the crest
what
of the
are we
jersey.
doing right now?
What? Was she?
Yeah.
That's a Prosecco talking.
I don't know.
What?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that one, buddy.
Are you fucking serious?
Whoa.
Oh, God. Okay.
I feel like Don right now looking at, I feel like Ron looking at Don right now.
Anyways,
No,
I
no,
mean,
there was some,
Oh
there was
my
some
God.
gyration. There was some like coordinated dance moves going on in the
pull the
background.
fucking
background,
clip.
You
Pull
know,
the clip.
you know
need
what
to
I
see
love
this.
is how many people send me now lip reading shit.
Oh, really?
Oh, so many people send
What
me
do they say here?
lip
The
reading
cast
guy.
one. They were like, "Did we get this one right?" And I'm like, "You guys are nailing it."
Don't
Yeah.
ask me, ask Pete Blackburn.
Exactly. The cat. I love the cast
That's
one.
who I
And then
follow for my lip
the
reading.
Tippett one where he said, "I knew you'd get it." Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who he was talking to, but
You.
he knew he'd get it.
Yeah,
Knew
he
you'd
was
love it.
That's
motivating
fun.
you.
I like that.
I like that there's a producer at Sportsnet that it seems like anytime something happens, they'll have a camera come in real tight on Dave Tippett. I find his face to be very expressive, and I like it.
I don't understand. It must be superstition, but it's Movember, Dave. Like, if anyone's going to grow
Yeah,
the
where's the
world's
I
mustache,
know.
man?
It must because it's working. No mustache. Maybe when you're 12 and 5, you don't grow
That's
anything.
true. That's true. For now that we're so far into the season and having success, keep it
You
off.
guys, speaking of November, not mustaches, like Elliot Friedman might want to give that thing like a half a month head start.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
try it in October.
The
That's
Nuges.
half the fun though.
Dude.
Is seeing the awkward
what do you
phase.
grow?
I took the running start just because I want to enjoy looking like
Go
a
with a
pervert for the whole
goatee
month.
for like a month and then just go straight to mustache, right? Like Elliot, we're going to be in the 20th of November and Elliot's still going to be waiting for the
Elliot
left side
hasn't
to
remembered
come
to
in.
bring hair gel to work for 20 years, and you want this guy to organize his mustache game better?
I love Friedman. I think he's the best thing going right now as far as insiders.
He looks like he came to work every day in a 1996 Pontiac Sunfire with the top down. And just
Hell yeah.
ran into the theater 2 seconds before the recording studio and be like, "No time." Oh,
There's a photo.
It's coming along.
I took a photo.
God, you doing?
I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Why don't you put that out on social, Chalmers? Get a little
Because I
bit of
don't
chat.
like making fun of people on social media.
making fun. You love making fun of people in real
In
life.
person. Oh, hell yeah.
On real life, the podcast brought to you by Japa. You
Yeah.
won't?
I don't know. I just didn't.
You can put it out as a funny way. You can say something like, "Why is Friedman growing the Nugent Hopkins mustache this year?" or something like that.
Yeah, you should have seen me after like the first 8 days before I had to shave for work. I look like, imagine worse than Nuge. That's me. It's bad. I can't do it. That's why I don't make fun of Friedman either, because, you know.
He's gonna be the only insider left at this rate. I bet you Kiprios is sitting somewhere now being like, maybe this wasn't the worst way to go out.
A lot of people, oh, no, I don't want to go back to this. We're done. We're moving on. But yeah,
So you ran into an old guest of the podcast yesterday
I interviewed Bucky.
at the Tri-City Americans Oil Kings game.
very
He was in town.
Yeah, it was good. I think
Did he mention us?
Well, I was standing outside the room and someone walked by and they said, "Who are you looking for?" And I was like, "Kelly Buckberger, please." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll go get him." And he came out in his tracksuit. And I was like, "Hey, Kelly, Tyler Yarmchuk from TSN and Oilersnation." He was like, yeah. And I was like, "We met over the summer." And he looked at me and was kind of did like a double thing. He was like, "Oh, yeah, we did." And I was like, "Okay, just need a couple minutes of your time." Then I talked to him for 2 minutes, recorded an interview. Might write a little thing for ON on him.
Absolutely. you
We'll
should
see if I
have.
have time.
Did he bring up the time him and a young Jay stood beside the cup? Did he mention it? He didn't mention it.
No, we talked about.
Yeah, Jay, the guy at the cup.
Oh,
the
so
cup
the
winner.
cup, yeah.
One thing I gotta
Probably
say about Bucky is he looks good on the bench. He looks like a bench boss. He's straight up like, just has that look of just old player coach now and just demands attention.
Great player coach though, because you know what? While I was walking away, one of his assistants walked up to him. I was like, "Hey, Bucky, I hope you don't mind. I told the guys that we're taking them to 7-Eleven with the bus and they can get whatever they want." And Bucky's like, "Oh yeah, do that." It was fantastic.
yeah.
I was like, "Man,
Yeah.
you talk
7-Eleven,
about the
7-Eleven.
difference."
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
One of the things I talked to him about was the difference between coaching NHLers, which he did for like a decade, and now in his second year coaching teenagers. And that's the big one, right? Like With the NHLers, you're not taking a bus full of New York Islanders and being like, boys, we're going to 7-Eleven. But with the 16,
Even
17,
for an extra big gulp?
yeah, even the 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids, that's how you get to them, man.
Yesterday, I was driving past the Mayfield Inn, and I saw the Lethbridge Hurricane bus pulling out of there.
Dinner theater?
Yeah, I've seen other team buses there. Why the fuck are they staying there?
at the Mayfield Inn? There is an arena there too. Like maybe they can have a skate. Like a
Is the
morning
arena
skate
still there?
Uh,
I thought they took it out. Like we used to
have
have
no
like
idea.
novice tryouts there. and
Oh yeah, I
shit.
used to go to a Mayfield hockey camp every year when I was a kid, and it was a full day thing. And you would go into like the Mayfield recreation center where they had like badminton and like racquetball, all this kind of stuff. Anyways, yeah, it was a full day thing, twice on the ice. It was a great camp. I loved that one, but I don't remember. I don't know if there's still an arena there, but I did see them pulling out.
Two things. In the AJHL, they have a sponsorship deal with certain hotels, so they're always staying in certain hotels no matter what the proximity to the rink is. And two, with WHL teams, because the Oil Kings were in Lethbridge on Friday, but Lethbridge hasn't been here since like the beginning of the season, really. Sometimes, I know the Oil Kings used to do this, I'm not sure if they still do. If Lethbridge is on a week-long homestand and like one of the midget teams in the area is going on a road trip, they'll be like, hey, just take our bus. So it might have been like a midget AAA team using the bus. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't look at the Oil Kings schedule to see if it was actually like the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
You didn't do the deep dive?
I definitely saw that bus there. And so yesterday, I went to the Oil Kings game, and I got to be downstairs where your MChuck hangs out in the media room area. And I got to do it because my 8-year-old son, and his hockey team were chosen to do the honor guard for the opening ceremonies of the Remembrance Day festivities. It was pretty cool, man. Like they wrangle up all these kids. They're all wearing their jerseys. They're all representing. They all got a poppy on. They all go downstairs, and now they're in like the area where the Zambonis are coming past, and all it's a staging area for these kids. And people are running by. Maintenance crews are in there. They're getting the nets ready, and these kids are just wide-eyed and looking like it was awesome. It was kind of cool just to be down there too, from like my perspective, because I've never really been down there. So we walk right out the gate that the Zambonis go out on, right? And the kids all go to the left, and they stand on this red carpet and just stand there. Like that's all it was. It was honor guard. There was other kids doing other things, but the dads get to stand right behind the bench, right? And just to like look up at them, just how massive the place is from like right there, standing on the ice level. Like it's impressive. Like it's a weird feeling being down there. It's a cool feeling.
Rogers gets, Oilers fans are like, oh, there's no atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. That's still just a fucking beautiful barn.
Oh my God. When you look up,
Especially
and you're
when you
looking
get
straight at like the
Yeah.
Sportsnet lounge, and then, it was incredible. It was. These guys have nothing to say on it because they're not listening.
No,
I'm listening though.
We're looking at Cass's mom video. I'm trying to validate myself.
Cass's mum video.
That's weird. She's doing like a heart dance.
But
move.
it's like she's also trying to teach me how to Dougie.
Maybe
at
she's
the
trying to
same
give me
time.
one of these, like a Bieber heartbeat.
Anyways.
I mean, so she's slightly doing what you described, but you could have described it better.
Well, I didn't use any words.
Maybe it was the motion you were making.
Alberta 2 is calling me. I got to flip that upside down. My phone is unforwarded at the moment.
So Oil Kings game. It was a great game.
When the boys are out on the ice, boys only,
No, there's girls.
boys
It's
and girls?
co-ed teams. Yep.
what are their takes coming back in? Because when you're little, I remember when Gretzky retired and he brought out Ty and Trevor and Paulina.
Yeah.
And they were like sitting on the ice playing with the snow and could give 10 shits.
Yes.
Were the kids like thrilled to be there? Or like, whatever.
So when they got down there, they all just kept talking about like, this is where Nuge, like this is where the Nuge would be, or like this is, oh my God, this is where like McDavid walks through, and like that might be right, that might be not right. It doesn't matter. at this
Right
point.
enough for the
They
children.
are just happy to be
Globally
down there,
speaking.
and I think that they're just, their heads are on swivels. They're constantly like overtaken with just how massive everything is underneath there. The minute they came off the ice, all they wanted was popcorn, M&Ms, hot dogs, root beer. They don't give a shit about anything else.
They're over it.
Oh my God.
Will
they're
it
over
resonate
within
with them
5
for
minutes.
a few days? Will they be like, Dad, remember a few days ago when that happened, or no?
Just maybe like
They're
the
on to
odd
the
one.
next
I
one?
know my son's just kind of like, that was a cool experience. I really liked the ceremony because like during the ceremony, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the lights are going down and people are skating around anyways. So I think like at the time you could see in their faces, they were just like, and they just want to be on the Jumbotron, man. That's all any kid there wants. The floss cam, like when everybody flosses, it's hilarious because they just got a big group of kids. And then they had one guy, the guy that won the floss cam, and he was actually doing a flossing dance. It was
Sounds like he was off
kind of
script, but
ridiculous.
whatever.
Yeah, the 45-year-old man doing it. But no, these kids just want to be on the Jumbotron. They want to eat snacks, and
It's very
That's it.
pure.
it's very pure watching them go through it. Yeah, and just to be with their team and run around and piss off everybody 5 rows above them because they won't sit the fuck down. That was fun. But
No, I was just going to say it was also pure Tyler when you on Friday night text me that you had wished you and I were on the Kiss Cam together.
Yeah,
I
had a few beers.
Were you in the Kiss Cam too?
No, I wasn't on the Kiss Cam.
Oh, you just
I
out
was
of nowhere hit
enjoying
you
my
up?
life.
I knew he was at the game, right? So they did the Kiss Cam, and the Kiss Cam ended. So I just texted Bag Milk because he's always saying that I should kiss him, and I just said, "Hey, I
Hold
wish
on.
it was me and
Stop, pause, rewind. I know it's 2019. I can't get into your personal lives. Why are you always asking Tyler to kiss you?
you." Yeah, Bag Milk.
As far as I know, I don't have any record of that being anywhere.
Oh, fuck off.
I just know that Tyler is very aggressively coming at me for my sweet, sweet kisses, and
He's
it's
courting
just,
you.
Yeah, it's really getting weird.
Every day when I'm here, at least, I walk upstairs, and before I go, I say, "Hey guys, do you need anything else from me today?" You know, like a nice coworker.
Yeah.
And Bag Milk goes, "A kiss," and I say, "No."
Wow.
One of us has
Every day?
One of us has the other propositioning for a kiss in writing.
You can't prove
That's true. That's damaging.
You cannot prove that text message is actually from my phone.
Were you on the Kiss Cam once?
Yeah, very recently.
Like very recently,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I thought that
And
was
won.
No.
No?
That came second.
It's
allegedly.
political.
Yeah,
It was very political.
Very political.
political.
But if me and Bag Milk were on, I bet you we would have won.
Oh, buddy, I'm going to town.
I tried to get on it with the guy I was sitting with because
What in the fuck?
I'll tell you why.
2019 won, yeah.
On Friday. Well, exactly. Well, because I knew the person helping the camera man. It was our friend.
Oh, our good friend.
Our good friend.
Yeah. Was that what she was doing?
She was doing. Yeah, she was
So
there.
I
I'm
could
like,
conceivably wave her off now if she were to come. My biggest fear in life is to be on the jumbo.
you definitely can.
So
I was
now you're
trying-
like,
I was on the Jumbotron last year. There were the couple right in front of me was doing the Kiss Cam, but like they did the wide shot, so I was in the shot. So I took off my Nation jacket and I hung it up like this.
Smart.
So for 15, 20 seconds.
Good advertising.
Massive logo
Smart.
up on the
Excellent.
So you get caught on the Jumbotron.
I've been on. Let me just full disclosure. I've been on Kiss Cam with my sister before. It was like 2001. No, I didn't seal the deal. People here who will kiss fucking anybody apparently pops in, and then it was so awkward that they put us back on later on. Remember when they went through the era at Rexall where they put thought bubbles on people's heads?
Yeah.
And then her thought bubble was, "I think I have playoff fever," but everyone was still laughing about Kiss Cam, even though it was like 15 minutes earlier in the period. So never again.
Were you just mouthing, "This is my sister"?
I didn't have no. I didn't have
I'm
the
not-
wherewithal to do anything.
Yeah, I think
So
you're in
that's-
panic mode of
so
that.
I
that's
was.
where it
I
comes
looked
in.
like the most panicked human being ever. People I knew ran into me afterwards like, "Were you there with a side chick? Why'd you look so scared?" I'm like, "Side chick? There is no primary chick. That's my sister, you idiot."
There's got to be some new cool thing you can do on the Jumbotron because like chugging your beer, it's a classic, right? But
Absolute
it's been
classic.
Our
done.
buddy Lee did the best. That was the greatest use of the Jumbotron ever.
Oh, and he pushed the Oilers fans out of the way.
No,
or
his girlfriend. So his girlfriend was on.
It was the Kiss Cam, wasn't it?
No, it was just a
No,
crowd
it was just a
shot,
thing.
and they just went on her, and she was just hot, and whatever, boys. And then he was wearing a Senators jersey because of the Sens game. He came flying into the scene, shoving her out of the way, and then started repping the Senators. Then everyone started booing him, and he stood up and he was giving the ear to the crowd.
Yeah, the Hulk Hogan ear.
And he told me,
Town Hall.
and he's like, "You've never in your life felt something so exciting as a building booing you." He's like, "I swear it's better than being cheered."
You always want to be the heel.
Let's ask Drake.
Oh,
What just
hear about
happened
this?
there?
My boy Drizzy getting no respect.
My
is that
God,
the
he
end?
was-
Is that peak Drake? Is
So
he now going to
what
get
did
her?
he-
What
No,
did he
this
do
is-
to get that? Like, what did he?
like nothing. So here's the thing. He went to Tyler the Creator's
Music
festival.
yeah.
Camp Flognaw or
Camp
something.
Flognaw or
Yeah.
something, and he came out for what was going to be like a 40-minute set.
Closing set.
Yeah, closing set. And in about the first 5 minutes, it's young kids there, like high school and first.
Well,
couple
rumors
years
had gone
college.
out that Frank Ocean was going to close.
Yes.
And Frank Ocean never puts out albums and never performs.
Right.
But he's boys with Tyler the Creator.
Yes.
So a lot of people were led to believe informally they were going to be going to a closing set by Frank Ocean.
Yes.
So Drizzy walked out.
And people started booing him heavily.
Heavily.
And so he did his one song, and he kind of said, "I can keep going. Do you guys want to keep going?" And they were
Boo.
like, and they booed him, and they're like, "Oh, should we keep this going?" And everybody started yelling, "No!"
Yeah.
And so he left.
He left. He took it like a pro.
Yeah, I actually respect it a bit.
But I think Drake's now part of the old people club.
I think he's like
a boomer.
No, it's
No,
just,
I just think in that situation it was.
Listen, Tyler, you're aging out too, my friend.
Yeah, you'll be there
not
too.
part of
You're
the
on
TikTok, man.
generation.
At some point, you become so loved that it's like the Nickelback effect. It turns on you,
Yeah.
and like the Hootie and the Blowfish effect, right?
Yep.
You become
Whoa, people turned on
Taking
Hootie?
shots at Hootie?
People hated Hootie when they were huge. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
They became the biggest thing in the world.
You know who probably made that happen is the Blowfish. That
And
guy
absolutely.
had
And people turned on him, and they got some, like
I follow Rick Ross, a very good rapper. He's now mostly taking photos at like Wingstop headquarters, and he just released a book and accepted like an Atlanta Spirit of Business Award. It's no longer fun following Rick Ross on Instagram because he's like an old rich guy. I feel like this is where for Drake, he's gonna be like, I can still put out albums.
Exposure too, like the whole like with the Raptors thing, and
But you know what? If you dropped a single tomorrow, it would still be
But it'll be like Jay-Z towards the end of his career,
but
right?
let's double that with, I have been so over Kanye West for so long.
Yeah.
And Jesus is King just came out, and it is a gospel.
Garbage.
No, it's good.
It is.
I don't like
Sounds
it.
like it's
so
not finished
good
to me.
It's because it's not
The
finished.
songs, it's a gospel album, and gospel songs are I guess traditionally short. So most of the songs are only like, the first one like that's really good is a minute 45, then it's like 2:10, then like 2:30. Like these are not long songs. The beat making in this album, it's like taking me back. Like it's so good that I don't care what he's singing about. It doesn't matter that the whole thing is full of gospel. Like
I loved the
sentiment.
gospel concept. I felt like he released a half-finished product.
Really.
Getting back to Drake, we can.
Okay, well, anyways.
No,
Here,
hold on.
so
let me finish my. Wait.
He
On
drops an
Drake.
album. I love him again.
No, go on.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Drake now has entered into the like Jay-Z second half of his career.
So Drake just turned 33 for record in October.
I remember Jay-Z came to Edmonton one time and we went to the show and it was poorly attended, but it was like me and all my fellow youths. And Jay-Z was like the guy.
Wait, was this the one we took the limo to?
That was the second time.
Oh.
The second time we came back and we went in a limo, and that perfectly tells the story.
Yes,
we're
okay.
like older now, we're more successful now. We went for wine before the concert.
Yeah, we did.
I showed up at Jay-Z, still sold out, or wasn't sold out, but still well attended. But it was all like people my age at Jay-Z who'd been in the streets back in the 8 years ago when we went. I think Drake is now going to hit that point where he can still put out songs and they'll go to number one, but he isn't hip with the kids.
I'm going to disagree with you that I still think he's got a handful of years left of being really hip with the kids.
Jay-Z did too, but if you can't go to Fog Knock because you're going to get booed off stage, that's going to calculate into your tour plans.
I relate everything for coolness in terms of TikTok these days.
As you should.
You do not see Drake featured in any TikTok videos kids are making right now.
But if Nice for What came out yesterday, you would.
Sure. Maybe.
So I think he's just got to drop some
bought
shit.
Hold on, we're going home.
I also have the 444 album, the Country Club rap, where we talk about our 401k
So
tax plan.
what is hot on TikTok right now? Might I ask?
Can we make this a weekly
Random
segment?
shit, man.
Yes, we
It's-
have to. I would love to talk music all the time.
Oh, no, I just meant TikTok.
Oh, a TikTok weekly segment. I took TikTok away from my kids.
Really?
I had to.
You were preaching it.
What
I
if
was.
Steve Jobs' parents had taken away the circuit board from him?
Okay, so there is a level of creativity that I guess you could say jumps the shark when you start doing shit that's not creative anymore. It's just fucking stupid.
So who are you, the creative police?
I am the creative police. When they were making videos and they were being funny, that was one thing. But when they started, it's just like everything. They push the envelope, and so pretty soon I'm watching videos that I didn't want to be watching. And I didn't
Oh,
want-
did your boy call somebody you people?
No, he did not say you people.
No? Okay, I don't know.
No,
You
they just
can't say
sing-
that shit in
they
2019.
sing to the words, but they're like, I don't know. It's just, it got out of hand. I had to take it away from them. Plus, they were starting to figure out how to take it off the privacy settings.
Oh.
And they were getting followers. And that just fucking
No,
creeps me
that's
right out.
legit.
And I was not having any part of that. So
Some
I
of the
said,
most used songs right now on TikTok are Candy by Doja Cat,
Good track.
of course,
Juice WRLD,
Oh, yeah.
I like Juice WRLD.
Arizona Zervas,
Who?
Mahogany Locks, Ant Saunders, K-Camp,
Not a real name.
Migos and Marshmallow.
Hey, Migos.
This is how people are becoming famous, though. They're releasing their song on TikTok so that people use it, just like the Get Up, and what was the other one? Old Town Road straight up started on TikTok. Before Billy Ray Cyrus,
before
was on
the
it,
remix.
people were like, it was becoming well used on TikTok a lot, and then that's when Billy Ray saw it, and that's when they became 20 weeks in a row at number one.
And rounding out the countdown is BB Rexa.
I've heard of her.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was saying, though. It's
Can
like,
we do this every week so I can keep a check on if I'm actually becoming
We should do a
old?
segment called Keep Your M-Chuck Young.
Let's make
Yeah,
let's make
keep your M-Chuck young.
Let's make a TikTok video every week.
Of your M-Chuck.
I make
being
TikTok
young,
videos
To,
daily.
with the hottest song of the
You
week.
actually make them every day?
Yeah, I make for The Nation's got an account and I have a personal account. I make multiple videos a day on TikTok.
I'm going to start my kids accounts back up just to follow you. And
Yeah,
I'll
actually,
just have it
I'm
on
in.
my
I think I
phone.
might download it.
I've got to see this.
The revolution's
It's-
happening.
Is it My Name is Bag and Milk or what?
Hi, my name is Bag Milk on TikTok. Yeah,
Okay.
but and just Oilersnation as well. It's interesting that
Oh, yeah,
as
don't
you
go
get
straight to TikTok.
better
Gonna get
at
hacked.
using the platform, how you seem to unlock more toys and things. It's like Vine, but with licensed music under it. And I think the creativity that you can put together in 15 seconds is pretty interesting.
There's amazing content on it.
I lost easily on Sunday probably 2 hours of my life on TikTok. Wow. You get sucked into it and you're just watching these random videos. There is 2 tow truck drivers from Edmonton with hundreds of thousands of followers. And all they're talking about is their fucking rounds that they made that day. They're like, I pulled a cop out of the ditch. Turns out he followed me on TikTok. We're having coffee tomorrow. That kind of shit. And I just
So
I love
wait
it.
a minute. I was fully under the assumption that TikTok was literally you pick a song, the song plays behind you, and you sing or make a video to that song. How are people just talking?
You can do both.
You can do both. We could put this whole podcast on TikTok.
In 15-second bursts.
Yep.
Wow.
2,000
You can go
videos.
longer than 15. Can
Yeah,
you go up
up
to 60?
Up to a minute, yeah.
Yeah, come on. You know?
That's cool.
Hey, with it, you Remchuck? You old
So
I'm a heavy follower of TikTok. I'm yet to publish my first music video.
The one TikTok video that I liked was the the diving team or whatever that's all around the dock, and they did it backwards where they were jumping into the water.
Yeah.
But then the TikTok video was them jumping out and landing like their superhero that they were going to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is
just to
a,
get that done, that's impressive.
That is a TikTok trend. So that's like one of the like trending kind of videos that kids are making. So you can go find that one specifically, and then you can find thousands of
the
others
people that did
are
it
saying
awfully. Those are probably better.
Some great, some bad. Well, that's just it. Sometimes you find videos that are so fucking bad, and I find myself watching everything that person put out because they're just like, I don't understand why this is even on here.
So I went the other day and there was a twerking challenge that started. So,
How'd you do?
I'm in already. Yeah.
Go click on the hashtag. This hashtag has been limited because of complaints from the community for unwelcome content. The twerking contest was canceled on Instagram.
See, that's pushing the envelope.
That's gone too far. You got to move to a new platform where your auntie isn't on there complaining about twerking content.
Well, that's another big trend on TikTok right now where kids are making videos about old people flooding to TikTok. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I'm in my 30s. I'm who you're making this video for. Fuck you, kids.
The boomers.
Oh my God, I feel fucking so old right now. Okay, they're going there and they're straight up making fun of the people that. Why are old people vlogging? Like,
'Cause it's
is this
fun.
like the Facebook thing
fun,
where
man.
like old people realize that
Every
kids are on
social
Facebook?
media network is like
So
this.
now it's all aunties and stuff.
Yeah,
It hasn't fully
Yeah.
tipped yet.
Yeah.
the boomers are
They're
flooding.
starting to show up. Yeah.
Early adopting old people are going there to look to make money. Like
So we
Bagno.
were on the ice yesterday, and Jay yelled at the guy, "Nice."
I was going to bring this up.
Nice something, boomer. I don't remember what you said. And I looked at you and I said, "Do you know that guy?" And you're like, "No, we call them boomers now." And I'm like, "What are we talking about?"
We the young people.
And he goes, "That's what young people call old people now, boomers." And they hate it. And I'm like, "We're the old people."
No, we're not. We're in the middle. The
No,
young
yeah,
you're not a
people-
boomer.
The generation
If
after
I'm calling
us.
people boomers,
Yeah.
I'm young as shit.
Boomers is
The
gotta be one of
generation
the worst
after us
concepts.
is making fun of the generation before us, and we're sliding right
So
along
this is
the
a
mean.
thing now
I
too,
literally
huh?
had that as a talking point saying I chirped a guy at hockey. Called him a
You
boomer
called him a boomer.
multiple times.
And I was sitting on the bench and looked right at you, and I just went, "What are you talking about?" That's either the worst or
these
the
old
greatest.
people
chirp.
don't get it.
Yeah, we are young and hip.
There was a CNN, again, I guess I'm in the old category, but there's a CNN headline. It was a story. It was like, okay, boomer, it's time to talk. A millennial's guide to talking about boomers. I'm like, what in the fuck?
It was used in New Zealand House of Commons.
Yeah, that chick, the Minister of Energy is like 23 or something.
Since we're out here showing my age right now and how little I understand, what is the fucking
Boomer.
meme with the desperate housewife pointing at the cat behind the thing?
Yeah, I
What
don't
is
get it.
that?
I don't get it either.
Get it.
It was just random shit put together.
But what's the cat video? Like what? Like I saw. So I watched the Desperate Housewives video. And
Yeah.
she's going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So I get how that's a good screenshot.
What's the
Just
cat?
someone
What's the
someone
cat?
just took like the layout thing and just put a cat at a table.
And so now there's memes about how people are making.
it's mispronouncing
no
words
sense.
or a comeback, like a sassy
Yeah.
comeback. There's one where he's wearing little Timberlands and has a little Yankees hat on and shit. It's good.
You know what the beauty of this
I'm
podcast is?
falling behind. What?
The first 15 minutes was us talking about how much we fucking hate the internet. And the last 15 minutes was us talking about how much we fucking love the internet.
There's
So
such-
we talk about the good and the bad of the internet.
To me,
it wrapped up
TikTok
nicely.
right now is what Twitter used to be. It's a lot of fun. There's going to be a time when TikTok is shitty and horrible, and it's going to be a bunch of old people yelling at each other.
And the president will have a TikTok.
So let's start up the next one. Yeah. That's gonna. No, I'm sure they're already in the works. But so that that Jack Dorsey that runs Twitter.
Yeah.
I listened to an interview with him the other day, and the guy that was interviewing him, his biggest thing is like, Twitter needs to be fixed. Somebody needs to fix Twitter. There is too many bad things happening that people can just do everything. And he's like, yeah, we're working on it. And he's like, no, you literally are the guy that can fix it. So fucking fix it. And this Jack Dorsey's like, yeah, well, there's a lot that goes into fixing it. And he's like, no, you just literally fix it. You stop allowing people to say whatever they want. It's not that fucking hard. And this Jack Dorsey just would not basically,
because Twitter is working,
say, I'm going to fix it. What do you think about Jack Dorsey and Twitter? Like, what do you?
It's tough, man, because it's not Twitter that's the problem. It's humanity that's the problem.
Right. So hold on. You protect people from humanity.
You protect people from humanity. But like, let's use an example. When we first started at the Nation Network, we had comment sections, and it was me talking to Jay, talking to Bag Milk. If we were lucky.
And that Bingo Fuel guy.
Yeah, Bingo Fuel. He was in the mix.
That dude was there.
Yeah, he did a great job. And now it's gotten to the point where we had to put on filters to remove words from comments. In the beginning, we're like,
we were doing anything we could to get a comment.
Any comment, anything is fine. And now we're to the point where Bagwell has to sit in his underwear, assumedly, for 4 hours and pull down comments. Oilersnation isn't the problem.
That's growth.
But this is the thing with Twitter. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to start banning accounts, you can do that. And they have been. They've been kicking people off. And it must be a horrible thing to know you should probably kick the president off, but you can't.
Yeah.
How do you prevent people from saying who draws the line for saying you can't say that in quotation marks? How do you determine what that is?
Oh, that's not for me.
This is what Jack Dorsey's scared of, though. This is what he's scared of.
Yeah,
he's scared of saying, like, okay, let's say you can't call anyone a wanker, right? Okay, well, what if someone does? Is it just like your tweet doesn't appear? But then, like, if you say, like, I'm going to kill you, in anger.
With love.
That can't be on there. But it's like, oh, man, Taylor Hall killed that guy tonight. And then you're, like, kicked off Twitter, right? Like, it's really hard to, like, put rules in place to remove hate speech using AI and stuff because you need context. And the only way you can really have context and keep Twitter, quote-unquote, clean would be to decide, like, you can't talk about this.
Okay, so you use a keyword. You use one of many keywords that they have. Mm-hmm. You are now on the list of somebody that's used a keyword.
But I can,
if it just like a body of work, like how Donnie C's gone, and body of work, he had a lot of things. Yeah. You're on that list. You're now monitored more heavily.
How though? By more AI or by people?
Fuck, at some point use people.
Okay, I'll give you what you're asking for is coming. It's going to actually probably be the thing that ends up killing social media because we talked about on this show 2 years ago. We called peak social media. We said this is it. It is as big as it's ever going to get. The EU, ooh, that's gross. I just inhaled.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Well, a little cocaine won't make this podcast slow down, will it?
Let's play in the NHL.
Yeah, oh yeah, not a problem. In the EU, they just ruled against Facebook.
Yeah,
Chalmers, they just ruled against Facebook.
Yeah.
In the EU because a politician, someone said something defamatory about her on Facebook.
Right.
And she sued Facebook and she won.
Okay.
And if you make a crank call on a phone and you say to the president, I'm going to kill you on the phone, you don't get to sue the phone company for allowing that call to take place. Right? Facebook now, and there's no means of appeal in the EU for this, they are now responsible for people saying defamatory content on Facebook. So they're going to have to hire a whole bunch of people and create a whole bunch of AI to make sure defamatory stuff comes off. It's going to be almost impossible for Facebook filters to figure out what the fuck people are saying.
Can you believe that there's this much work going into stopping people from being mean to each other?
Phase 1 of technology was give people tools. Phase 2 of technology is like, oh shit, they're using those tools to club each other.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Hong Kong, right? And we don't want to talk about this kind of shit. We got to stick to sports. Deadspin reference.
Thank you.
But like, most problems in government and with like civil unrest is like heavily fanned by social media. So Jack Dorsey's getting calls from like the governor of Hong Kong being like, I want you to take every single reference of protest out of tweets in Hong Kong. And he's like, how the fuck are we supposed to do that? And Zuckerberg's getting dragged in front of Congress every other day. The poor guy's turning into a lizard. He's in the stress of it all. And they're like, you, sir, are personally responsible for everything 1.4 billion people say on your platform.
Created a $1 billion company.
Yes.
Using content from people.
Yes.
So they should
At
be
what point-
it's some way responsible for what gets put out
But
there.
at what point are people held responsible for their own actions, right? And we'll close with this, and like we can debate it. But like Don Cherry, yes, you have free speech, but you have speech with consequence.
Yeah.
You said too much racist shit, you're fired.
Yep.
Okay, fine. How can you apply that same thing to Facebook? How can you apply that same thing to Twitter? Twitter's got like 140 million active users. How the hell is Jack Dorsey? And yes, he created it, and yes, it's monster, blah, 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 blah. But like it's people. Gross, I sniffed again. People.
Not feeling too good.
No, people, it's thin air down here. But I think it's very, very difficult for a guy like Jack Dorsey to come to, first of all, grips with what people did with his baby.
Yeah.
And B, I think it's a very hard problem to solve. I feel for that dude.
I agree. I feel for him too.
I remember when we went and visited
I
Twitter's
also feel for the people that have to listen to this shit.
Our podcast?
No. Yeah, I absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
Nobody listens. It's okay.
You constantly want me to be more involved on that on Twitter.
What?
And just commenting
Yeah,
on
people like
things.
you better than they like me, so go talk to them.
I go to Twitter and I scroll through and like I don't fucking like it. I don't like Twitter.
Neither do I.
I'm not a fan. I like Instagram. I fucking love Instagram.
Well, every time you like a post
Yes.
and don't say anything, I curse you.
I say stuff these
I see a lot of
Yeah, on Instagram.
old
Comment.
Wanye throws a post up and everybody in this room likes it and no one chimes
I
in.
commented on one today.
It's me talking from Oodle Noodle to the River Valley account to Little Brick.
It's Nation 1.0.
It's Nation 1.0. It's me talking to Rosenhart.
I like that the amount of people that I have talked to though, they go to the top of your feed, right? So like I see basically my Twitter feed looks like I follow like fucking 12 people and it's the 8 people from our fantasy league from the Nation, you 4, and then like my wife or something, right? Like, and then I got to scroll and then all of a sudden I'll get to like the meat of Twitter, right? Like the things that
Actually, you don't follow me on Twitter.
that's bullshit.
Controversial,
Cold.
but true.
Jesus Christ. Do you know how long it took me to get that fucking logo in that box? It's a long rectangle. Nothing fits in those.
When I first saw your avatar photo, I go, I'm not even kidding. I remember this is on Twitter and it's small. I'm scrolling
Yeah.
through. I'm like, why Chalmers use that avatar of old Tiger Woods as his photo? Because you have the
So,
shades on.
I
and the
purposely used it because of the sunglasses.
But that's you.
yeah, just fucking don't
Such a
look
boomer,
good.
Chalmers.
Chalmers is the definition of boomer.
All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. We hate the internet. We love the internet. And we love our 12 listeners. For Chalmers, Bag Milk, Jay, Wanye, Tyler Yaremchuk, thanks for tuning in to episode 147 of Nation Real Life.